Right, it's a new day, new weekend. It's nice and cold, it's raining, and we are up at my yard just to finish off the alternator replacement that I was doing on this Alfa 147. So there appears to be a couple of schools of thought on the best way to replace the alternator on these. I've seen people go up from underneath, take the subframe off, go in that way. Yeah, it looks pretty painful going in that way. You can go in the top like I've done. I don't know if it's any easier, but seeing as I don't have anything to lift the car up on, or it's a pain in the arse to lift the car up on a surface like that. For me, it seemed like a better idea to go in top ways, so done that. It was still miserable. It was a really hard job. The new alternator, I don't know if you can see that, but it is on there. It did fit. I've brought a belt up with me today. I hope I brought a belt up. I meant to pick it up this morning. Seem to remember chucking it in the back of the Land Rover. But yeah, today I want to get it back together, load it up on the trailer, take it home to have a look at the leaking fuel pipe and do a little bit of welding on it. It's the latest arrival. This failed its MOT on, I think it was the mounts for the rear subframe, which you can still get hold of those. So I'm hoping that shouldn't be too much grief to replace those. And she's a little bit smoky on startup. I'm gonna, got my helper in shot as well. She's here to lend a hand today. Yeah, the Land Rover is, I love it, but it's not very practical for most of my driving. I do like, a mile each way a day to drop my son at nursery, and that's about my lot really. So a little petrol car is much more sensible than a big old diesel thing to be burning around in. So needs valve stem seals as well, which I think on these ends up being, pull the cylinder head off, do new head gasket, that sort of thing. So that works all to come in the future. Not something that I'm going to get stuck into right now, as there's other priorities sadly. But my life should be a little bit easier once I have this to run around in rather than the Land Rover. Oh, go on then. Let's just see if it starts. We can have a look at how smoky she is. Yeah, just a little bit smoky. Anyway, right. Let's focus. Let's get this thing back together. So, as is the official way to do these things, everything has been thrown in the boot. And I'm just remembering that the boot has an electric latch. Let's sort that. It's important to keep everything organised, as you can see. Right. Yeah. The memories are coming back. Hopefully this shouldn't cause too much drama to just kind of chuck this on. I'm trying to remember what's what. That's obviously the positive. It's the battery strap. Which is the positive on here, this way round. Right. One moment, please. I'm not used to such novel and futuristic things as fuses inbuilt to your positive terminal. Right. Let's put this on and see if we set the car alarm off. Nope. In that case, let's have a look at what we've got on the keys. Is that lock or unlock? Who knows? We've got one for the boot. Are you going to work? No, maybe on the other key. Let's try the boot release. Nope. Oh, this is a fail, isn't it? Come on, you bastard. Yeah, nuclear option. I want to say there's a button in here somewhere for releasing the boot. Shout when you see it. There we go. Technology. And yeah, as I said, everything neatly set out in the boot there. Yeah, definitely regretting some of my past life choices. I'm pretty sure all of these need to wrap up underneath and tuck under somehow. And then down here is, there's that bracket that I was saying about. It bolts onto the back of the engine block. And for some reason I had to unbolt it from the block as well. I think it may be, I don't know. It was possibly that I couldn't get to these, or... Yeah. I'm merrily working away in the rain and just having a look around and realised, yeah, actually the airbox is at the front of the car and there's no anything on it. So let's shove something over that hole for the moment so that we don't end up running on water. I'm having a couple of minute breather from mucking around the wiring. I just want to get this inflated so that we're ready to roll in a little bit, and also just make it a little bit easier when I want to get the trolley jack under there to put the aux belt on. I've been cocking around for a little while trying to figure out the best way to get the various bits of wiring loom clipped into the bottom of this. I was trying to clip it in as I was going in and feeding this in, but I think actually this just needs to be thrown in. I'll try and tuck these up so that they're kind of kept where I need them, and see if I can prod and poke everything into place afterwards, because it's a right pain in the arse trying to get this thing in and out of there. It barely fits. I almost wonder if it's worth pulling one of the engine mounts. But I think I actually did that. Yeah, I undid that sort of dog bone mount there, and there is a little bit of play. So yeah, you kind of have to like prise and poke and pull and pray, and eventually you get there. Well, I kind of want to film this because I think I've just had my eureka moment of how this manifold comes in and out. So you kind of need to get it to a point. Well, I guess taking it out is the opposite of this, but going in, you kind of come down vertically in here, and then there just seems to be enough space to give her a wiggle, move her past the hard lines that are on the back of the bulkhead there, and if I can get unsnagged from the wiring loom here, he says confidently. Oh no, we're snagged again. Fool me once. I don't think this needs much more to get that in. Let's yeah. There we go. Again, it's just those clips on the back that hold the wiring loom. They're kind of just snagging on everything as they go along, and I'm just sort of keeping an eye on them and giving them a wiggle every time we come up against something. And there we are. And this is probably the point where I realised that I should have put the little rubber couplings in first, and you can't get them in with the manifold in there. But we shall see. I promise you that was a million times harder taking that out, not really knowing which way it was going to come out. And likewise, I was really fighting originally to see how it would go back in there, and then when I suddenly saw that it kind of went in vertically and twisted and followed along, then it became quite a lot easier. Just in case you're thinking, shit, he forgot to take all of that tissue out. I did forget to take it all out. But luckily I didn't forget too late. There we go. These are oval inside, and they match up to the intake manifold. So trying to figure out the best way to make sure that they end up the right way round. They do register on the plastic inlet, plenum. So I'm thinking best to thread them onto that, and then poke the whole thing on. I think we probably need to do that before we put too many of the electrical connectors in, because the loom clips onto this in quite a few places, and I think once it starts getting bound up by the loom, we're going to struggle for there we go, getting it to go where we want. Excellent. Just having flashbacks of another really shite part of taking this apart. It's these 13mm bolts that are kind of tucked under each side of the plenum, bolting it to the inlet manifold. Try and get that home. I might actually show you, just in case any of you poor folks ends up having to work on one of these. The bolt is down here on this side, and if you can imagine it on this side, sort of somewhere under the power steering fluid reservoir, it's kind of tucked in there. Real pain in the arse to maybe not so much this side, because obviously when you take the throttle off there's quite a lot of space there, but to get the side by the power steering pump, you sort of have to lean in from this side and give the whole engine a reach around. It's one of those ones. It's reach around time. Come on. Oh. I can feel it going in. It's a really long bolt, so I'm going to be spending the next 10 years of my life just twiddling it around between my fingers. I say you can't see what you're doing, so this is all just by touch. Right. Let's see if we can get the ratchet in there. This is where I'm sure somebody's just waiting to say, oh, there's a really easy way you can get in there. You just do X, Y, Z, and you've got about 10 foot to work in. If that's the case, please don't tell me. Just tell me that it's a really awful job to do and that I'm doing it the right way. Oh, come on. There we go. I was doing it with 2 fingers, then I got my thumb in. It was the thumb action that did it. So I just put the socket on there and that's tight enough. Just full of euphemisms, this one. Whew. Well, I was wrong. I think this is even more agonising than that 13mm bolt that I just put in. I'm pretty sure that I made a mental note to do this reservoir up first, and then I forgot. So we're doing it the hard way. Why not? I'm not sure if it's a coincidence or if these were actually the right tool for it, but I was fighting with those, and these seem to have done the job of getting them done up. I mean, it's still a little bit of a fight, but they do seem to go. That hurt. I think I might have bent this a little bit. Doesn't seem to want to go quite how it came off. That's hopefully it'll bend back. Well, they did get the rest of them. I think what happened was it wasn't quite lined up, and then so I'm waving that around, trying to get the focus. Yeah, it wasn't quite lined up. It's a cheap tool, which is probably a copy of an expensive tool. Anyway, it's still got that sorted. Christ, gotta remember which way around this went now. Pretty sure it was this one around. Yeah, could do with a little something to slide those in there. Let's try that again. It's a tight old fit. A loose fit for a couple of them. Interestingly, ones which looked like they were leaking when they came off. Ah, there we go. Get a bit of weight and a wiggle, and it's gone into place. Get some bolts in there. There we go. I think extra length goes a long way. That doesn't work so well on the smaller ones. Wop wop. I bent that as well. Splendid. Let's try try some other tools that aren't quite right. Ouch. Ouch. Let's just try and squash it a bit. Let's try that again. There we go. Marvellous. I dimly recall that maybe it ran across the top of the inlet manifold here. Kind of looks like it could have been a thing, doesn't it? Let's tie up what we can figure out for the moment. Let's do them in the right order as well. I'm led to believe that is somewhat important. It's more like it. That must live there. Let's get it the right way around. That was the right way around. Splendid. This lives with this. I'm going to spend the rest of my life fighting it to get it together. There we go. And it clips into this thing in a way that I can't quite remember. Like that. Yes, it was like that. There we go. Excellent. I just kind of need to do that a million times over, basically. What's this big one for? Oh, I think that wraps around the back. Here. Somehow. Maybe it doesn't go through that bit, maybe it goes into that. It does sort of feel like one of those jobs where nothing will ever quite be the same again. Look, there we go. That has made its way over to there. Fuel line. Let's give that a little wipe. Probably made it dirtier. Lovely, there we go. Right, I think it'd probably be good to get the throttle body on at this point. Let's get that on loosely, because then there's another part which looks suspiciously like an ECU. Which lives on top. Pretty sure I don't need to go wild on those. Annoyingly, so this is the plug for the throttle body there. This one, I haven't found a home for that, and yeah, access is kind of shit now, so yeah. So if it's anything important. Yeah, so I was trying to find a home for this, and it would transpire that, yeah, I think it needs to go over the top of all of this. And around that way. I will just double check though. Yeah, this is the bracket that piece clips onto, goes onto the inlet manifold. So let's get that fitted. I originally took this bolt off, but I was astounded to find out that it actually comes out without jamming against the chassis leg. In the last couple of cars I've worked on, where I've had to take a bolt out of a sort of dog bone thing like this, they've just been lodged in place. So shout out to Alfa for that at least. Right, I think that's all together now. Don't seem to have any spare plugs or anything flapping about, so I'm going to chuck a battery in it and turn it over. Yeah, there's a couple of like hose clips and bits that I need to fit, and there's the bolts for that sort of support bushing that's underneath the manifold, but I'll wait until I'm home to fit those. All my bets then. I haven't put the auxiliary belt on yet, so we're going to have a warning, but I don't know how I'm going to go. Well, let's try that again without the steering lock on. Check we're out of gear as well. What do we reckon? Sounds promising. Yeah, we know that. We haven't got an auxiliary belt on. Well, at least the car's together enough that it starts again now, so that's something. Losing light. So I'm not sure if I'm going to... I won't go and stand in front of the engine. Otherwise you won't hear me. Losing light, it's pouring down with rain. or on and off anyway. So I think I'm going to put the auxiliary belt on so it's ready to go, and then bring it back home another day. Well, hopefully you can see more than I can. But after this, we're going to do a bit of that in order to get the belt on. So, seeing as I don't have enough hands, you're just going to have to imagine it whilst I do it. I would just like to take a moment to say that I absolutely hate the 2-litre twin spark engine. I think that this is possibly worse than working on a Citroen XM. I've been fighting with this I've got rain going up my nose now, for longer than you should need to fight with an auxiliary belt, but hey ho, we're nearly there. Yeah, I'm not doing that again. That was shit. Did not enjoy that. Right, let's find out if the alternator that the car came with was the right one. I'll get my words out, I'm knackered. Sorry, there's loads of reflection there. Let's try again. Number plate light failure. Door open. We're not getting a warning about the battery anymore. Happy days. Complete success. Yeah, Daddy's going to load the car on. You going to watch? Yeah. Right, it's day 2. Had to give up last night because it was the light and the weather was against me. Oh, if I had muscled up, I probably could have got it done, but I might make things difficult. Let's get the battery on. Let's tuck that somewhere where it's less likely to disappear. I've got the trailer ready, Land Rover ready, so let's get this fired up and loaded. Get the tyres still pumped up a little bit from yesterday. Yeah, I'll do for loading purposes. Oh. Yeah, that is a million times better with power steering. First time I was loading and unloading that was just yeah, it was an absolute fight to get it manoeuvred and onto the trailer, and yeah, just went on like a dream this time. The one really important thing I forgot to bring was the fire extinguisher. Hadn't made a mental note to bring that, as it does leak quite a lot of fuel, but we're on there, we're okay. I've disconnected the battery now, so fingers crossed. You know, I only ran for a few seconds, so hoping that nothing's hot enough to cause trouble, and we'll get her home, get her unloaded on the driveway, and see what we can do with her. Right, I didn't bother filming doing the strapping down. Nobody needs to see me trying to figure out how to use my ratchet straps after a break from using them, but you after, mate. Yeah, we're ready to roll. Tiny bit of extra content. Seeing as I took the Alfa Romeo home, I thought best to bring the E-Class back up the farm. So run out of light here, but just going to get that unloaded. It's going to wait here until I've got a logbook, and then take it in for an MOT. And fingers crossed it passed. That came out wrong, didn't it? Fingers crossed it passes, and then it can get sold, because it needs to go. And yeah, too much stuff around at the moment.
So I wasn't able to film any of the unloading once I got home because it's pretty tight cul-de-sac where I live, and whilst I get on well with the neighbours, I do just try and sort of minimise the amount of time that I'm mucking around, you know, taking up loads of space with the trailer and loading and unloading things. So the Alpha's unloaded, it's on the driveway. That's pretty much where I'm at with it. The Mercedes E-Class that was knocking around, and I probably have mentioned before, that's been loaded up and taken up to the farm, so that's kind of out my way whilst I'm waiting for the logbook on that. In terms of the Alpha, there is still work to do. It was too dark to really film anything last night, which was when I unloaded, and this evening as well, it's been too dark to really sort of film anything that's probably enjoyable to watch. But yeah, I've noticed that there were some interesting things going on with the electrics. So the windscreen wipers, both front and rear, no life at all out of those. Central locking's doing some weird things. So I think we're going to spend a little bit of time diagnosing those, and you know, if that might be interesting, I think I'll try and get some videos together of that. But yeah, the goal on this one is it needs to get in for MOT pretty quickly. Another thing that I've noticed is I don't know if you could hear in the in the video when the car's being driven, but one of those fuel injectors sounds pretty clicky, and there is actually a bit of a misfire as well. I've noticed when it's running, so do wonder if those two things are connected. And finally, I've been looking for the fuel leak, trying to see where it was leaking fuel from. And no word of a lie, I can't get it to leak any fuel whatsoever now that it's home and I'm running it. So yeah, kind of want to try and sort that out and get to the bottom of it, because you know, these leaks don't fix themselves unless it was something, you know, on the fuel rail or on an injector maybe, that I've sorted by taking it apart and putting it back together. But I really don't think it was. I think it was one of the metal hard lines that was leaking. So um, yeah, I really want to get to the bottom of that, because catching on fire is something that I really don't want to do. So anyway, if you've stuck around and watched through all of this, again, really interested to know what people think. You know, is this slightly longer format showing more of the work useful? Is it boring? You know, just really interested to see what people want to see, because I'm quite excited to be able to share some of the stuff that I get up to, and just want to make sure that it's you know, in a format that works for everyone really. But yeah, like I said, thank you for sticking around, and I look forward to recording the next adventure. Cheers.